Volume 1, Elements of Institution Eligibility, Table of Contents, Chapter 1, School Eligibility, Chapter 2, Program Eligibility, Chapter 3, School Participation and Participation Requirements, Chapter 4, Consumer Information, Chapter 5, Records Keeping and Privacy, Chapter 6, Other Administrative Requirements. School eligibility. The chapter discusses three types of institutions that are eligible to participate in federal student aid programs. If in circumstances change the participation, school no longer qualifies as an eligible institution. It must notify the Department of Education and the department to carry out the closest procedures described in Volume 4, Chapter 2. School must apply to receive approval department regarding eligibility participation in the federal student aid programs before they are certified of participation. Some schools apply on designation of eligibility institution. They do not seek to participate, so their students may receive deferments on federal student aid programs, loans, and eligible American Opportunity Lifetime Learning Taxes credits. Other non-federal student aid programs require schools to be federal student aid eligible. The same application is used to apply to both eligibility certification for participation. Chapter 1 highlights the type of control, basic criteria for eligible institution accreditation, admission standards, factors leading to loss of eligibility criteria to participate in the Teach Grant program, withdrawal rates, and the program participation agreements. Type of control. Three types of eligible institution. The law defines three kinds of eligible institution. Institution of a higher education priority institutions of a higher education, and post-secondary vocational institution. Each type of school is eligible to participate in federal student aid programs provided if it offers appropriate type of program. See the chart on the next page. This section covers the key elements of three definitions, giving special attention to those requirements of the definition and an eligible program. All criteria for the three types of institution differ, and it's possible some programs or institutions are higher education to meet requirements for the post-secondary vocational institution. Related information, eligible program, closeout procedures, Volume 4, Chapter 2, applying to participate in new school guide, eligible homeschool and correspondence students, federal student aid handbook, Volume 1, Chapter 1. Institutional control, the control of institutional discussions, and the control of institution distinguish whether the public or private, nonprofit, or for-profit. The definition: institution of higher education and post-secondary vocational institution can be either public or private, but is always nonprofit. A priority institution of a higher education is always private for non-for-profit institution. Okay, here is a shot of a elements of institution eligibility. A type of control eligible institution. Institution for higher education, the public, private, nonprofit educational institution located in the state. The institution offers an associate, bachelor, graduate, or professional degree programs, a program in at least 2 years of the acceptable full credit toward a bachelor degree, or a training program at least one academic year leads to a certificate or non-degrees and not recognized credential prepares students for gainful employment and recognized occupation. Those are the type of institution with its controls. The priority institution of a higher education, a private for-profit education institution located in the state. The institution must provide a training, gainful employment, and recognized occupation, and have provided a program leading a baccalaureate degree in labor arts continuing since January 1st, 2009, with continuous regional accreditation since October 1st, 2001 earlier. Programs offered must be the criteria at least one of the category below. There at least be a 15-week instructional time ungraded undergraduate program of 600 clock hours, 16 semesters, trimesters, or 24 quarter hours. They are admitted to student without an associate's degree or equivalent. There is at least 10 weeks instructional time program of 300 clock hours, 8 semester, trimester hours, 12 quarter hours. The May graduate and professional program must admit only students with an associate's degree or equivalent. There are at least 10 weeks instructional undergrad program of 300 and 599 clock hours that must admit at least one must admit at least some students who do not have associate's degree or equivalent must be specific qualitative. Note these programs are eligible for direct loan participation. Third, we find the post-secondary vocational institution, a public or private nonprofit educational institution located in the state. The institution must provide training for the gainful employment in a recognized occupation. Programs offered must meet the criteria at least one category below. They must have at least 15 weeks instructional time, ungraduated program of 600 clock hours, 16 semester trimester hours, 24 quarter hours. They may admit students without an associate's degree or equivalent. There are at least 10 weeks instructional time program, 300 clock hours, 8 semester trimester, 12 quarter hours, and must graduate professional program or must admit one of the students with that associated degree or equivalent. There are at least 10-week instructional time undergraduate program of 300 to 599 clock hours must admit at least some students who do not have associate's degree or equivalent must meet the specific qualitative standards. These programs are eligible only through direct loan and participation. All three types of institutions must provide comprehensive transition post-secondary program individual intellectual disability with intellectual disabilities. 2-year applicable priority to post-secondary vocational institutions legally authorized to give and continuously have been given the same secondary post-secondary instruction for at least 2 consecutive years. Basic criteria for eligible institutions. To an eligible institution be legally authorized to state provided the post-secondary education program in the state. See the volume 2, chapter 1 of the Florida State Federal Student Aid Handbook. Be accredited national recognized accredited agency and had be the alternate requirements if applicable. Admit with regular students only individuals with a high school diploma recognized equivalent or individuals beyond age of compulsory school attendance in the state whether institution is located. The definitions of an eligible institution are 34 Federal Regulations 604, 605, and 606. Nonprofit institution, a school that is owned or operated by one or more nonprofit corporations associated who net earns or do not benefit or private shareholders or individuals legally authorized to operate as a nonprofit organization by each state in which it is physically located, determined an internal revenue service eligible tax deducted contribution in accordance by the IRS Code 25 U.S. Standard Code 501c3. State defines a state includes not only the 50 states but also American Samoa, Puerto Rico, District of Columbia, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, Northern Mariana Islands, and authorized by state 34 Code Federal Regulation 604. Generally, a school must be accredited, a pre-accredited, national recognized accredited agency association, both referred to here as agencies to eligible, except for the provided school must be accredited by agencies of authority to cover institution programs and agencies such as referred to school primary agency, agency school referred to as school's primary accreditation agency. A school can have one primary accreditor. A school may also be accredited one or more programmatic accredited agencies. A programmatic accredited agency is one or more accredits only individual education. A school may be accredited by one or more programmatic accreditation agencies. A programmatic accredited agency is one or more that accredits only individual educational programs that prepare students for entry to profession, occupation, or vocation. If the school is seeking changing primary accreditors, it must first provide department agencies all materials documentation for the reason of change. Foreign schools eligible for direct loan. In general law, a foreign school can participate in direct loan program if the foreign school is comparable to institution higher education and has been approved by the department. The regulations are set out for the specific requirements for the foreign school. If you can find additional information about foreign school eligibility, foreign school information page of the IFP Institute website, ifpaedd.gov, foreign school info, foreign school HTML, info HTML. Alternatives to regular accreditation. The law provides two statutory alternatives to accreditation by a recognized accreditation agency. Firstly, a public and private nonprofit institution by an pre-accredited by agencies associations that have been approved by the department to grant such pre-accreditation. Second, post-secondary vocational education institution may be eligible for financial student aid as funds if accredited by the student agency the department determines the reliable authority. Primary accreditor typically is an accreditation agency that scopes the institution wider rather than only programmatic. A participation institution must advise Department accredited agency if it wants to serve as a pre-accredited agency for Florida student aid eligible. Sorry, I'm stuck. I'm in Florida, but it's federal student aid eligibility if a school. State authorization alternatives. The criteria for the school is to be considered legally authorized by the state, where published in Federal Registers October 29, 2010 as new Section 34 Code Federal Regulation 619, effective July 1st, 2010, with a gens of 1105 March 17, 2011, provided further than guidance for the state authorization. If a school offers only programs of a singular nature, the school primarily accreditor may agencies that accredits only the specific educational programs. Dual accreditation. If a school is accredited by two agencies at the same time, the school must designate the agency's accreditation will be determined in instructional eligibility. Financial student aid funds must inform the Department of Viva electronic application (EAP). Further, school must provide the department, both agencies, all materials, documentation, reason of dual accreditation before schools add additional accreditation. See Volume 2, Chapter 5, Financial Student Aid Handbook for more than changes of accreditation loss eligibility. A definition of religious institution is owned by, controlled, operated, maintained religious organization, lawful or operation, nonprofit, religious cooperation. Awards only religious degree certification include not limited to certified Talmudic studies and associated Bible studies, bachelor's religious studies, master of divinity, and or doctor of divinity. National Recognized Accreditation Agencies Association. An accredited agency association of the department has recognized to accredited, pre-accredited, particular category institutions educational program in accordance with the provisions of 34 Code Federal Regulations, Part 602 and 603. Admission standards. An eligible institution may admit as regular students only persons who have high school diploma recognized equivalent or beyond or age of compulsory student school attendance in the state in which the school is locally or duly enrolled in the college secondary school. Admission standards are also play a role in student eligibility as discussed in Volume 1, Chapter 1, Florida Student Aid Handbook. Obtaining a list of accredited agencies, the department periodically publishes the national recognized accredited bodies in Federal Register based on the criteria of 34 Code Federal Regulation, Part 602. The list of accredited agencies recognized by the Florida Federal Student Aid purposes can be found on the department website, www.ed.gov.mins.financial aid-accreditation-index. List of accrediting agencies recognized for the pre-accrediting categories in Section 7. Information about national recognition of state approval agencies in Section 10. The status granted for the National Recognized Accreditation Agencies Association, public-private nonprofit institution progressing toward accreditation with a responsible period of time, institution of higher education, IHE, 34 Code Regulation 604A51, post-secondary vocational institution, PVI, 34 Code Federal Regulation 600A51. Recognized equivalent to a high school diploma. The following equivalent of a high school diploma: a GED certificate awarding after the passing authorized testing of the state recognized of an equivalent high school diploma, and an academic transcript showing the transcript has successfully completed at least 2-year program that is acceptable full credit toward a bachelor's degree. Full seeking enrollment in written and policies in the college. Alternatives to accreditation. Institutes of Higher Education, IHE, and PVI, post-vocational institutes. You can find those in Title 34 Code of Federal Regulations 604A and 51 and 606A52. Homeschool or compulsory school attendance. Department considers homeschool students beyond the age of compulsory school attendance if stated that the eligible institution located and does not consider him truant once he has completed homeschool program. For instance, the state requires her secondary homeschooling curriculum at age 16. If the state would not consider her truant, would not require her to go to high school and continue homeschooling until age 17. A school may rely on homeschool student self-certifications in its completed secondary school and homeschool setting as discussed in Volume 1, Chapter 1, Florida State Financial Federal Student Aid Handbook under academic qualifications. Admission standards are Title 34 CFR 604, 605, 606. Check validity of checking validated of high school diplomas. The school must evaluate validated high school diplomas. Completion of school department reasons to believe high school diploma is not valid was obtained that it may provide secondary school education discussed detail volume 1 student eligibility chapter 1 Florida Student Handbook. Preparatory program standard without a high school diploma or equivalent. A school admits the student without a high school diploma or a recognized equivalent, except for homeschool students, must available in the program proven successful helping students obtain equivalent to high school diploma. For example, such a program assists the students obtaining the GED certificate and a certificate mentioned earlier if it prepares and conducts the state, local, secondary school authorities as well as the program for which the school documentation statistically demonstrates success. The school must provide information about availability of the program interested students. The school does not provide program pay for its costs. The programs must be offered in place and convenient students, and school must be reasonable steps to ensure the student have access to such coordinated time of school programs and preparatory program. The law does not require a school to verify a student enrolled in preparatory program or monitor his progress. A student who does not have a high school diploma recognized equivalent is not required to enroll in such a program. Required by law to enroll in such not required by law to enroll in such a program, but the school makes it an administration requirement. A regular student is a person enrolled except for the enrollment eligible program to obtain a degree, certificate, otherwise recognized educational credit, if not and yet beyond age of compulsory attendance. The state of the college physically located in the college may enroll in his or her regular student as he is a school diploma equivalent to the duly enrolled secondary school. The dual enrollment in high school is a Title 20 U.S. Standard Code 1001, 1002 as in admission standard as a student eligible issue. To be eligible for federal student aid, a student must have a high school diploma, recognized equivalent, and be on the age of the compulsory attendance and meet the criteria for homeschool students who duly enroll for the high school college not eligible for federal student aid funds. See Volume 1, Chapter 1, Federal Student Aid. Related requirements. The school may not deny admission to service members of uniformed service for a reason relating to that service. See Chapter 3 for more information. Student admitted without a high school diploma or equivalent. A school that admits who does not have a high school diploma not recognized equivalent to the additional consideration waiver limited impossible for the school. See discussion limitation without high school diploma equivalent in Volume 4, Chapter 1. Factors leading to loss of eligibility, limitations, otherwise eligible, limitations for eligible if violates among the other requirements, 50% of limits without the high school diploma equivalent for the school that do not offer 4-year bachelor degree programs or 2-year associate's degree. So, Incarcerated student limitation 25%, correspondence course limitation 50%, correspondence student limitation 50%. Notify eds of change of school EAP. If you change any of the school's answers yes or no questions to section G, you submitted EAP app will deal the enrollment threshold for the limitation below. The school must notify the department of the VE app. The department advises the school of its option, including whether its school might be eligible waivers. The waivers are available for the correspondent student limitation, incarcerated student limitation, limitation of students without a high school diploma or equivalent. Conditions of institution eligibility, 34 Code Federal Regulation 607. Bankruptcy or crimes involving Florida federal student aid programs. A school is not eligible if it files for relief in bankruptcy as entered in against an order of bankruptcy. The school is eligible in either of these circumstances to affiliate the school that has power by contract, ownership, interest, direct cause, direction, management of the policies of the school. Conditions of institution eligibility, Title 34 and 607. A school has loss of eligibility if the owner or executive officer pled guilty, no contender, or found guilty of a crime involving acquisition, use of expenditures of federal student aid program funds, been judicially determined to have been committed fraud involving federal student aid program funds. Prohibition on employment individuals who have been misused in government funds. The school may not have as principal employer or contract with organizations that employ individuals who have engaged in the misuse of government funds. If a school becomes ineligible for any of the reasons, it must notify the department of the change within 10 days. The school becomes ineligible because one of the factors must mediate stop awarding the federal student aid funds, must follow the requirements for the student that lost the follow the requirements for a school that lost the federal student aid participation. Loss of eligibility effective as the date of the bankruptcy date of the school. An individual pleads guilty to or found responsibility for the crime is applicable. A loss of eligibility, 2 reasons, is permanent. The school eligibility can be reinstated. Teach the grant program, Title 34 Code Federal Regulation 686. Criteria for participation in the Teach Grant Program. Eligibility for the Teach Education Assistant for the College Higher Education Teach Grant Program, which is Teach Education Assistant for College High School Higher Education Grant Program, is not automatically extended to the federal student eligibility post-secondary school. A school qualifies as a Teach Grant eligible institution if it offers a high-quality teacher preparation program at each of the baccalaureate at master levels, provides supervision, support services to the teacher assistant, and provisions of such services. The teacher preparation program must be accredited by a specialized accreditation agency recognized by the Department Accreditation Professional Teacher Education Programs, or be approved by the state, provided extensive pre-service clinical experience. If a school does not teach grant eligibility, recognized agencies of accreditation professional teaching education programs, Teaching Education Accreditation Council, TEC, National Council of Accreditation Teaching Accreditation, NCATE, noted on October 22nd, 2010, TEC and NATE, National Accreditation Teacher Education, agreed to merge this council for the accredited education preparation. If the school does not have a teacher preparation program, it can qualify to teach grants if it provides 1 or more 2-year programs of study that are acceptable full credit bachelor teacher program, degree program, baccalaureate degree, in which the higher need of the field and other teacher eligible school has an agreement. Other offers of the baccalaureate degree, the combination with other training experiences, will prepare a student in teaching a high need has an agreement with another institution that offers teacher preparation program, baccalaureate program that prepares students to teach, or offers post-baccalaureate programs that prepares students to teach. Enrolled for purposes of withdrawal rates. The student enrolls when he or she completes a registration requirement except for the payment of the tuition and fees of the school. Correspondents are enrolled if they are team been admitted to the program and have submitted one less than that was completed without any assistance of a school representative. Withdrawal rates. New schools. Schools that seek to participate in the federal student aid program for the first time must have an undergraduate withdrawal rate of the regular student with no more than 33% during the school's last completed award. When calculating the withdrawal rate, the school must include regular enrolled students. Definitions of enrolled does not require either payment of tuition of the class attendance, therefore or withdrawal rate calculation must include enrolled students who have not yet paid tuition and did not actually begin attending school classes. A student is considered to withdraw if he or she officially withdraws, unofficially drops out, expelled from the class, or expelled from school, or receives refunds of 100% of his or her tuition and fee. A student who withdraws from one or more courses of the program does not withdraw entirely. Program participation, see 487 of the HEA, 34 Code Federal Regulations 668-14, Title US 20 U.S. Standard Code 1085, 1088, 1091, 1092, 1094, 1099, 1099C, 1014, 1. From a student who withdraws one or more courses programs does not withdraw entirely from the school does not meet the definition of withdrawal. Instead, the action is considered to change enrollment status. The student reduces the credit hours from 12 to 6. A program participation agreement. To participate in federal student aid program, the school must have a current program participation agreement signed by the school president, chief executive officer, and authorized representative of the Secretary of Education. Program covered by public program, the PPA, the program participation agreement. An eligible school must be into the program participation agreement with the department to participate in the following programs: Federal Pell Grant, Iraqi, Afghanistan Service Grant, Teach Grant, Federal Supply Educational Opportunity Grant, Federal Supplement Educational Opportunity Grant, Federal Work Study, Federal Perkins Loan, Federal Direct Loan. So, federal student aid programs, the school must have a current program participation agreement signed by the school's president, chief officer, and authorized representative of the Secretary of Education. Purpose and scope of the program participation agreement. The program participation agreement school agrees to comply with the laws, regulations, policy governing the federal student aid. After being certified with the federal student aid program participation, the school must administer federal student aid programs in a prudent and responsible manner. Program participation agreement contains critical information and additional effective date of the school approval, the date which the school must reapply the participation, and the date of the approval expires. The program participation agreement in the federal student aid programs in the school which is eligible to participate. Expiration of a termination of agreement. Either the school or the department may terminate the program participation agreement. The agreement automatically terminates the school's loss and the school loses eligibility. Volume 2, Florida State for Federal Student Aid Handbook for more information. A school program participation agreement expires the date the school changes ownership, the resultant change of the control of the school, closes, stops providing educational programs for the reason other than normal vacation period of natural disaster that directly affects the school area students. The school ceases to meet eligibility requirements. The school period participates expires. The school provision certification is revoked. The school participation program participation agreement no longer covers the additional location as of the date at which the location ceases to be part of the school. Selected provisions of the program participation agreement. Most of the program participation agreements are discussed in detailed volume 2 of the volumes of Federal Student Aid Handbook. In the section highlighted, the general school requirements of the Preparation Student Aid Handbook must be familiar with financial aid professions. Note that the program participation agreement additional requirements for their specific schools must carefully review all the requirements listed by the program participation agreement. General terms and conditions. The school certifies that it will comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is amended the barring of discrimination based on race, color, and national origin. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972, barring discrimination on the basis of sex. Family Rights of Privacy Act of 1974. And Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, barring discrimination on basis of physical handicap. 34 Code of Regulation, Part 104. The Age of Discrimination Act 1975. 34 Code of Regulation, Part 10. The school acknowledges the Department of State accreditation agencies may share information about the school without limitations. The school acknowledges the school prior to any of the legal action. Submit any dispute, final denial, withdrawal, termination, accreditation, and initial arbitration. General provisions. The school uses the funds received by the federal student aid program as well as interest other earnings, therefore, on solely purpose specified for that program. If the school is permitted to request federal student aid programs under advanced payment method, the school will be timed as request for funds to meet the only school immediate federal student aid program. The school did not charge for processing handling any application data used for determining the student's federal student aid eligibility. The school will establish administrative official procedures reports necessary for the proper and efficient management of the federal student aid programs. It provides timely information on the administrative capabilities, financial responsibility department, and the appropriate state quarantine and accreditation agencies. Guarantee and accreditation agencies. The school must acknowledge the authority of the department and authorize the entities to share the fraud, abuse,